Afternoon, everybody. I think it's just gone past the witching hour, 12 o'clock, high noon. So hope this finds you all well. If you're going to watch it live, you're going to watch it on replay. So as you can tell, or maybe you can't from the clouds above me, dark clouds, um, quite a lot of rain floating around about. That means it's summertime. Yeah, this is the British summer at its absolute spiffing best. Cloudy yet warm, rain yet not particularly wetting rain, as they say. So here we are. Here we are back out again on a Saturday. They let me out of my cage, on a Saturday morning. So I roam free. Just roamed into the local supermarket to get a few bits and bobs. I was amused at the fact that when you enter the supermarket, they've got a big sign up saying "No masks, no entry." Now, there, you realize that that is not actually the case. There were a few people in the supermarket without masks, myself included. But they use that as a scare tactic to suggest that, oh gosh, I must wear a mask. I'm afraid the majority of our humanity, the people around us, well, they just go along with this. They just comply, they just obey. And I couldn't help but think to myself, here we are in what, early August 2021, and the signs are outside the supermarkets: no mask, no entry. How long do you think it will be before there'll be different signs: no jab, no entry? Oh, hi, John. Nice to see you on the stream, by the way. Everybody, if you're on this one, say hello. I don't bite. Well, I don't bite sensible people anyway. So, yeah, so I was pleased to see a few people wandering around without the masks. That was nice to see. That said, where I live, there has been no easing of the mask requirement. So I'm afraid here in this little tyrannical authoritarian hellhole, the powers that be are point blank refuse to tell us that we have a choice when it comes to the wearing of masks. They just won't tell us that. And there's a reason for that. They have every intention of keeping us masked up until they get us that little bit further along the conveyor belt. And I suspect that's going to become obvious in the next month or so when the respiratory illnesses come back. Now then, because we're on YouTube, we have to be careful what we talk about because remember, this is not a platform dedicated to free speech. This is a platform dedicated to culling play speech. Hi, John. I'm glad you enjoy the podcast. I am indeed prolific when it comes to little 5 to 10 minute 5 to 10 minute uh, bite-sized political podcast. I hope you enjoy them. You get to listen to me without having to see me. This is what makes it tough. You get to see me in these little videos. But anyway, I wanted to talk about something that's happening today. I'm not going to be able to be there, unfortunately. I have other things to be doing. But there is a protest organised at 1 o'clock. So in the next 50 minutes or so, outside the BBC in Belfast, outside their main Ormo Road headquarters. And some of my friends I know are going to be there, and I just wanted to put on record my absolute support for them and to let them know that I mean what they're protesting is the relentless bias of the BBC on the biggest issue of our times. In fact, it's such a big issue. I can't talk about it here, but you know what I'm talking about. So the BBC locally, in particular, the likes of the Stephen Nolan show, have been relentlessly pushing the narrative, and quite pathetic, really. And so these folks have had enough of it. So they're all going to rally right outside BBC Central, a place I've been in many times, I must tell you, back before they banned me. Um, and they're going to rally and demand that the BBC present on a much more unbiased basis. Now, I completely agree with them. Look, don't get me wrong. I think they're right. The BBC should do that. But look, it just won't. The BBC, in my opinion, is beyond reform. It's beyond hope. It needs to be rather like a rabid dog, economically put down. it needs to be defunded. It needs to be decoupled from the license tax. I've said that for about 20 years, so this is a long held view that I've had. And even when I was on the BBC, I always took the view that, well, I'll take the devil's money to fight the devil. And that's what I did. I didn't get very much money from the BBC. They paid peanuts, by the way. Um, Apart from to their, I mean, look, if you're paying Gary Lineker a couple of million, you got to make sure the plebs get, a fiver here, a tenner there. So these guys are all going to protest outside the BBC, demanding fairness. And the good thing about that is, it's a pity it's a Saturday actually, because on a Saturday, most of the BBC talent are not going in and out of the main headquarters. So the time to really cause the maximum embarrassment, if you wanted to do that, would be during the week when they have to go in. But even then, they enter actually in the car park behind the main building. So just letting folks know that's how the BBC actually works in Belfast. Um, I guess I'm an insider, having been inside it many, many times over the years. Um, yes, Jason, I agree. BBC and RTE both need defunding. You're right, Jason. You see, here's the thing. In 2021, we do not, hi Shalina, we do not need state broadcasters. It's an anachronism. It's from another time. The BBC, yeah, I think you guys are right. I don't watch RTE myself, but from everything I hear from my many Irish friends, they find RTE to be absolutely abhorrent. Well, BBC is pretty abhorrent from my point of view. Uh, Somebody says BBC talent, David, BBC trash. Well, you're absolutely right. The funny thing is, they actually refer to themselves as talent. You're right, and that amuses me. I mean, they're not talent; they're absolute. Well, what they are is they're propagandists. That's what they are. That's why I hated being on the BBC, because anytime I ever went into the William says, I watched the BBC for the first time in years yesterday. I felt physically sick. You see, William, it's better. I kind of have to watch a little bit of it to basically give you a sort of a pushback against what they say. But believe you me, I try to avoid the BBC. I actually try to avoid all mainstream media, all of it. Now, one thing, just so anyway, wishing the guys well. I hope they embarrass the BBC. I hope they send a message. Naturally, the media won't be there to pick up the protest. Had I been able to, I would have got up there and, if not, videoed it myself. But if anybody who's on the protest sends me a video, I can top and tail it and put it out there and let the world see you guys protesting. So, hi, Matt. Thank you very much for the kind words. I'm doing my best to try and get the message out there, despite the fog perpetrated by the enemy. Selena says, got rid of my Sky TV and license a few months back. Yeah, defund them. That's the way to do it. The statement, you see, there was a time when Boris Johnson 2 years ago, December 2019, he said he would look at the actual very basis of the BBC license fee. He said that back then. He was lying. He always lies. He had no intention of doing that. The Conservatives will never, never unshackle the BBC from the 3.8 billion it gets a year. Did you know that was a figure? 3.8 billion a year is what the BBC raises through the license tax, and as a consequence, it uses that to basically um, well, these days, act as the propagandists for the government. Matt says in Morrison's, masked sheep are everywhere. Oh, I mean, it's really interesting. If you're listening to this in England, and if you are out shopping in supermarkets post July 19th, and there is no legal requirement to wear masks, none, cannot be legally enforced, right? And yet, yeah, it's interesting. I think the truth of the matter is that some people love wearing masks. Don't you agree? I mean, I've come to that's the conclusion I've come to. If they had any critical reasoning, which a lot of them don't, but if they had any critical reasoning, they would understand the masks have peripheral, if any, marginal benefit at best. Now, so that's the first thing to be said. The second thing to be said is that I think, never mind the protection that the masks give, the imagined protection that many of them feel that the masks give them. The masks do give them, we can't see them. You can't see their face. You can't see their expression. You can see my expressions in this. So you can kind of figure out where I am emotionally. Um, but you can't see the masked sheep's faces at all. And I think they like that. And then there's a third element. I think they feel it gives them some kind of moral superiority over the unmasked. Um, yeah, yeah, Matt, I agree with you. By the way, I think they are. I think they do love it. A significant number of them love it. I mean, okay, we see this in polls, and the polls are meaningless. But there's a definite element of some people like the idea of walking around forever masked. They won't give up their masks. If the government declared that the pandemic was over tomorrow morning and that there was no longer any requirement for masks, some people, I think, would be very upset. And some people might say, well, I can't be sure about this. And of course, you will have people now working out, well, hang on a second, if the masks work so well, I mean, they kept me safe against COVID, so they'll keep me safe against the flu. I mean, I've done interviews with people like that. Oh, yeah, I should remember all the daily podcasts. If you do like the daily stuff, folks, that I put out, do make sure you go below, hit the link, and you'll get. Gosh, I think there's 5 of them coming out from me today. 5 videos on such wide and diverse topics as the wonders of Amanda, what's her name, who writes in the Daily Mail? I've forgotten her name now. It doesn't matter. Some Another Daily Mail shill. I've got one on her. I've got one on who put the panic into pandemic. I've got one on um, uh, other stuff. Go and watch them. I do them. I forget what I've done. It's recorded for posterity, though. You know, when they come to take me into the gulag for not thinking in the right way, well, they'll probably remove my digital archive as well. Maybe we need to absolute. I lip read. Had to tell the receptionist to take her mask down. Yeah, I mean, hi Welsh Celt. That is very, very. I mean, yes, there's no consideration given to people who, for example, have got issues and need to be able to see the person's mouth to hear what they're saying. Half the time, half the time, if anyone talks to me with a mask on and they're trying to tell me something, I'll simply say to them, "Listen, you need to talk up. I can't hear you. I'm not going to waste my time with these people beyond pointing out the bleeding obvious, namely that the ability to listen to what they say is massively reduced because they're wearing masks. But they love it. They love wearing the mask. The people that I think we have to reach out for are, you see people walking around with the masks pulled down over. I understand why they pull them down over their nose so they can breathe. Um, but you can tell some of those people, I think they're doing it because they feel, well, I better just do it anyway, just to be safe. But those people, I think, are possibly people that we can reach out to. So that's why we should always be polite when we interact with people. I think, no matter how ludicrous their behavioural patterns are. I believe you me, the behavior of some people is beyond. I mean, you do see people still playing dodgems in the shopping aisles, don't you? You see some of them, and especially if you're on mask like me, you walk towards them, and you can see them, and you can see in their eye the fear. Oh my goodness! Look at this walking toxin that's coming towards me. I'm not a walking toxin. I'm a healthy person, probably like everyone watching this. Somehow or another, the government is convinced. They say that the devil's greatest achievement is convincing people that the devil doesn't exist. Well, I think the government's greatest achievement is convincing healthy people that they mightn't be healthy. Don't know if you agree with that, but I kind of think that's where we are with the British government. So so as I say, we live in mad times, folks, and I don't think they're going to get much better. I think they're going to probably get much darker. So, um, was that C.S. Lewis? Um, Can't remember, Jason. I've so much stuff floats around through my hospitality in Wales. Escaped the bullet, but my rugby club still insists on mask wearing. Looks like I'm cancelling my membership. Yeah, anywhere that insists on mask wearing, you've really got to take a call on it, haven't you? Um, Actually, John, anytime I've been in a pharmacy, I refuse to wear a mask, and nobody said anything. But yeah, if you're around sick people, there is. Hi, Bob. By the way, good to see you. I know it's getting crazy, and we do need a plan. Well, the plan of action that we need is, and this is quite difficult to talk about in YouTube, but I think what is it? The how does the line go? To thine own self be true. And I think you should be true to yourself. If you feel that you need to take vaccines and you need to wear masks, then please do that. I'm certainly not giving you advice. Certainly not on this platform anyway. But when it comes to, but if you have critical thinking and if you have reservations and concerns, then you must act in a way that resonates with those things. How can I put it as mildly as that? Given this platform, if you want to hear the full-on expurgated version of what you need to do, subscribe to the podcast. Also, by the way, here's a quick one for you to do. I'd really like your help in this one. Hi, Sharon. By the way, good to see you on the stream. A fellow Northern Irish person. Always appreciate the local people coming onto the stream. I did call out the big demo that's happening outside the BBC at 1 o'clock today, Sharon, where some friends of mine and others are gathering to protest the egregious bias of the BBC. But yeah, I just think, what you have to do is you just gotta make your own decisions, and you shouldn't be bullied, you shouldn't be coerced, you shouldn't be threatened, you should be true to yourself. That's the only advice I can offer on this platform. But as I say, if you want more specific advice, sign up to the podcast. And hi, Miss L, good to see you. Also, make sure you hit subscribe, sign up to the Hard Truth podcast that I do with my friend Alana Mercer. Alana is she's one of the great thinkers. You really need to follow Alana. She's incredibly super smart. She sees things from a libertarian perspective. So if you're libertarian minded, I mean, I think she's called herself a paleo libertarian. Great expression. Um, and she is for formidable intellect. And the good thing is she agrees with me on a lot of stuff, and I agree with her. So do go and click on the Hard Truth podcast. We do once a week, so you'll get it once a week. It's about a 30-minute podcast. Whereas if you subscribe to my little podcast, the little bite-sized nuggets, there's about 4 of them in the day on a good day. Occasionally, I put stuff out here in YouTube. I'm going to try and put a little bit more content out here, but I'm sure you realize how difficult it is for me on YouTube. Yes, Jason, I absolutely agree with you. And many, I think, as we go through this together, and I'm not ashamed to say this, I think people of faith and people who perhaps don't have faith at the moment, but I think they may find that as we face what are going to be very difficult times. As I say, I believe the mandates will come to ensure that just like we've seen in New York, for example, like we've seen in France, like we've seen in other parts of the world, they're clearly coming for those who have chosen to defer judgment on the particular treatments until the medium to long term studies have been made public, which isn't until 2023. But as you know, nobody cares. That's just the authorities are playing absolute lip service to that. And that's why they want everyone to do what is required now. And as I say, I think it's up to people to make their own minds up. I don't think YouTube should have a problem with that, do they? If we get to the point where YouTube has a problem with me saying that people should come to their own conclusions about stuff, that's really the time to get off it. Jason, indeed, we are in biblical times. Kim says he talked in the pub last night, and most people didn't realize it was, yeah, I know what you said there, Kim. Yep, most people don't. But the reason for that, which is actually brings me full circle back to the start, it's not just the politicians, forget them. It's the media. The media should provide you with better facts. The media should provide you with both sides of the story. Every story. Yes, Bob, you're right, by the way. The stats from the States are horrific. Um, every story has two sides. I mean, any argument you ever get into with someone else, there's another side. I mean, even I accept that sometimes I may be on the wrong side. Um, but there's always different sides. So if the media was doing its job, it would absolutely. Hi, Iber Stellar, good to see you. Um, I would definitely provide you with all kinds of data, and then you could make your own mind up. Isn't that sensible? But of course, if you think that the media is there to do that, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. The media has allowed itself to be bought by the government in terms of the past 16 months, and that's been because of the huge chunks of money and largesse extended the way of the media from the authorities, from the establishment. So yeah, I mean, John says the more propaganda they put out makes me more determined to refuse the you know what. Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, I actually feel that where they get it wrong is, I reckon there's a percentage of the population. I'm not sure what it is. I can't be certain. I, I suspect it's maybe in double digits. It may be 10%, but I don't know. And I think that the 10% have made it through from March 2020 until August 2021. And I don't really think at this point that 10% is going to break much. That's what I think anyway. Um, yes, media equals mediators between the elite and the plebs. Exactly. That's what the media is, and so that's why, as I said, the BBC, Sky, all these platforms, most of the press, in fact, all of the press, all of the so-called journalists, so many of the commentators, they're all bought off. You can say, "Hi, Pete. Nice to see you, by the way." Um, they've all been bought off, 100%, all of them. And even where there's a little bit of resistance, like GB News. Now, I've been critical of GB News on a lot of fronts, namely because it's Ofcom controlled. But I was pleased to see that the Nigel Farage show, which I think is from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, something like that, just before sometimes I go on live. I think he was it 2 nights ago when he had Peter Hitchens on. That show got more views than the BBC News and Sky News added together. So I thought that was a tremendous achievement for GB News and for Nigel Farage. And I've got to say I've got my issues with Nigel Farage and GB News, but I doff my hat and say, well done, guys, if you can get those numbers. But I'm afraid, Pete, you are right. Ofcom will shut down any broadcaster which doesn't follow the desired narrative. That explains talk radio. That explains talk radio 100%. That's why I've just turned it off. I'm not listening to talk radio anymore. I know, what's his name? Mike, oh, what is this? I forget to say. Hi, Helena. I'm doing fine, thanks, and I hope you are as well. Mike Graham. I mean, Mike Graham speaks pretty well on the topic, actually. But by and large, I think talk radio is a waste of time. I've stopped watching GB News, but I did watch the show with Peter Hitchens on. And that was interesting. And it's a pity. One of my problems with TV actually is that's right, Jed, it's Mike Graham. Um, TV, the discussion was condensed into 10-minute soundbite. And in 10 minutes, you can't do very much. Neil Oliver has shown himself to have the utmost integrity. I've actually read some of his books that he's produced. He's a good guy. He speaks well, and I'm sure, therefore, he probably doesn't have a very bright future on GB News because you're only allowed to go so far. Um, oh, I know all about BBC's international. BBC International, in many ways, is more toxic than BBC domestic, but it's just degrees of toxicity. A poisonous snake is still a poisonous snake. So, yeah. So the legacy media fundamentally has been the means by which so many British people have been seduced into following a particular narrative, and that's because that media refuses to provide. Helena says, "Don't watch any MSM. Do bits. Yeah, I do. BitChute, Odyssey. Yeah, I mean, look, the fact is, there's still plenty of alternative media. There's loads of great podcasts you can listen to. I hope mine might be one of them you would watch, but there's other really good podcasts as well. James Dellingpole is a great podcast. UK Column they do a fantastic podcast. There's lots and lots of content you can pick up, which is not filtered, which is giving you helpful information that you can then make your mind up on. You can get it marginally on YouTube, but not really. You've got to go to Rumble, you've got to go to BitChute, you've got to go to Odyssey, you've got to go to these other platforms, folks. That's where you have to go uh, to um, to get the stuff that the legacy media just simply won't talk about. And as I said, I've often said that, the media is potentially more of a threat and a danger to us than any particular things that float through the air. So yes, Miss L, I agree with you. That's why I can't listen to Gab TV. Well, yeah, I put content out on Gab TV. You can go. That's a good one, Aidan. I'd forgotten about Gab TV. So I mean, there's more and more of these alternative platforms or new tech that do allow people to present other versions of what they see as the truth. So I think yes, Gemma, my friend Gemma O'Doherty, Jason, Gemma's doing a great job and being absolutely demonized for it. So is Dave Cullen, by the way. I've seen the video Dave put out about all the threats to his well-being, all the extreme nastiness being carried out against Dave. Um, Dave Cullen, John Waters, Gemma O'Doherty, these are great people. And because of that, especially in the Irish state, they are punished, absolutely punished for it. It is horrendous to say. But then, if you, Hugo Talks, yeah, hugotalks.com. This is a guy who competes with me over on Brand YouTube. That's another platform, by the way. I can put all kinds of stuff out on Brand YouTube, and it's all uncensored. I'm approaching, over on Brand YouTube, I've got, not far off, 500,000 views in the past, what, 4 months, something like that, 4 months or 5 months. So yeah, things are going great over there. One of the reasons, Ivor Cummings, yes, Marie, a really good guy. Yeah, you're picking on all the good. I think we obviously all have the same good taste in the sources of news that we go to. I don't know Ice Age Farmer, Helena. Which platform is Ice Age Farmer on? That's it. Some great people out there. But those great people are completely ignored by the legacy media. In fact, hi Dee Dee, Northern Ireland. Good to see you on the stream as well. So like, I think that's about it, folks, from me. I wanted to try and keep to the half hour here because whilst it is very, very overcast and whilst it is possibly going to rain, it's also absolutely very warm. So I could faint here, and if I'll check them out, Helena. If I was to faint, the problem is I'd be taken to hospital, and then I'd be tested for you know what, and then you know what might happen to me. So I can't afford to do that. So anyway, um, David, is Anna? Someone says, is Anna Breeze a shill? Good question, Bob. Good question. Anna is someone who puts up some good stuff and has also said some questionable things as well. So I would be a little bit uh, hesitant before completely following Anna. All I can say is when it comes to Anna Brees, during my Twitter years, she never followed me on Twitter. She didn't seem to have any interest in me whatsoever. So you can understand why I'm not that bothered about her. I'm glad you enjoyed my video with Alana, by the way. Do appreciate that. I mean, believe it or not, that little 30-minute video we do together is a lot of work goes into that. So do subscribe to the Hard Truth YouTuber stuff. So you get all that. So like, I'm trying to do my one man, well, not one man band actually, because without the help of my wonderful and uh, patient producer Jed, I don't know. I don't know where I'd be. Thanks, John. I am a rebel. I am. But I mean, what's wrong with it? I actually think I'm just a critical thinker. I just think about things and work out, does that seem sensible or not? Common sense is something that we need more of in this country, and we don't have enough of it. And I think lots of you folks have got it. And I do my best to try and look at things. I approach every issue on the facts of the matter, and draw my conclusions. So listen, whilst oh my goodness, I think my phone battery may be going to fade something here. So I will take my leave from you folks now. I want to thank you very much for you're welcome, Jed. You do so much work all in the background, I know, and people don't realize that half of this would not happen. Happen 90% wouldn't happen without you. So thanks, Helena, for the Benedict option and Live Not by Lies, great books. So yeah, wish everybody a good day. Have a good time. As I say, I have to watch everything I say on this dreaded YouTube platform. So, but anyway, it's good to catch up with you folks. I do like to do this if we get a chance on a Saturday. So you all have a good weekend as well. And as I said, make sure there's plenty of podcasts coming out later today. Tune in for those. Hopefully you'll find them entertaining, and catch you all soon. That's it from me for now. Bye everybody.